This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at one of the Delta-17 figures, War in the Shadows. This figure is Death Sparrow, the retrograde leader, and I'm not saying that Wolf logo had any impact on why I decided to buy this, but I'm not saying it didn't either. But these are done in the O-ring style of the G.I. Joe vintage figures from the 80s. And if we take a look at the back, we see kind of like artwork of just the faction she's part of, with the apparently good guys on this side and the bad guys on this side. And she does have kind of a file card on there. Death Sparrow, retrograde leader, age 32, name Anya Petrovich, birthplace Moscow, Russia, rank captain. Death Sparrow is the commander of Retrograde, a mercenary army that has been hired to be the primary task force for missions on behalf of the Dark Shadows. Death Sparrow has lived a hard life, and it exudes from her like a heat from a fire. She is not to be trifled with nor underestimated. She is violent, determined, and highly intelligent. Joining the army at a young age, she quickly transferred to a Rue Spence field unit, where her natural leadership abilities and fiery spirit gained her notoriety within their ranks. Retrograde consists primarily of disgruntled Spence members, many of whom were handpicked by Death Sparrow herself. Death Sparrow is directly answers to Shadow Dragon, leader of the Dark Shadows. Retrograde's preferred payment is gold. I have no idea what that accent was. I was trying to kind of do a Russian accent, but I'm pretty sure I not only failed miserably, but I think I kind of swapped into more of a German one, and then into whatever the hell that last bit was. I guess you could kind of look at this as being like they're like the Dreadnoks, her faction, because they work for the Big Bad as a mercenary group instead of actually being members of that group. But let's go ahead and open this up. I do wish the card would have come off without the leaving those marks there, because this is pretty nice artwork too. She does come with a figure stand, which says Delta-7 on it. Delta-17, sorry. And they don't have faction-specific ones, I guess. Traditional kind of a backpack. Oops, I guess it probably goes this way. Got one of old-fashioned grenades with the handle. This is very much looking like it's relating to World War II era. Because we even have like a machine gun with a drum barrel on it, like actually like kind of you see in mobster movies. This is a very hard plastic, so I think it would probably break fairly easily, since there are some really thin bits. Our figure herself. That sculpt is pretty decent. I'm not too much of a fan of the way they did the eyes on her, although it does look like the whites may be painted, and it's just that hard to see. Maybe the photo will look better. They also did a little bit more detailed in the eye makeup. Well, I hesitantly say eye makeup, but I guess you could say it does look like they did outline her eyes a bit towards the top, making it more look like eyeshadow, along with her eyebrows. And she does have bright red lipstick, so that's cool. Articulation wise, her head does have, it feels like, that kind of combination ball and hinge joint that the later G.I. Joe figures had. So she can kind of look down, look straight forward. You don't really get an up on her, but you do get a little bit of a twist, not all the way around. But I guess we'd call that about 20 degrees either way. By the way, they did not paint her cleavage to enhance it at all. I don't know if that's important to anybody. We've got the hinge that goes up and down, and we can, of course, spin. She does have the bicep cut here, or the upper elbow cut, as we could say in this case. So she does spin. Single joint at the elbow. It is kind of loose on this figure, I'm sorry to say. She does have an additional swivel on her wrist, though, which we did not see in other G.I. Joe figures. Obviously an O-ring. This feels kind of loose for an O-ring, though. So we can spin her around. And if we spin it enough, I guess maybe that's part of with the blues. She has punching action. Oh, geez. This elbow is super loose. Yeah, that's kind of disappointing right there. I'm not going to lie. Since we do have the O-ring again, sort of have the drop-down hip ability to kind of do the splits there. Aside from that, you know, if we're not doing too hard, we can get a good kick like that. She can kick forward that far. She can barely kick back. She has a little bit of a butt crack. We got a single hinge at the knee for, well, pretty much 90 right there. And no other swivels whatsoever. Our backpack fits on just fine. It's actually pretty good. It stays in there better than, say, the G.I. Joe classified packs I've been doing lately. And I actually got this because they were on a Black Friday sale for 20% off. I picked up 2 figures. Both the women, actually. So the other one I have is Kestrel. And I will probably do a review of her next week. Other than that, I like the colors on this figure. The black and the red look nice. The brown's good complement too. I think maybe, I wonder how it would have looked though if we'd gone just full black and red on her. Although maybe that would have been too Baroness-esque. I like the design of her rifle. I'm just afraid I'm going to break it if it drops. Or if this figure falls off the shelf and the rifle stays in her hand, I feel like it's going to break. Including the drum here. Although since it looks like this was also, well, because it was sculpted as a one piece, or that's probably why it would break. If that just kind of was designed to pop out, it probably wouldn't be an issue. And again, while the O-ring feels a little loose to me, I guess it does actually make the posability a little bit better because, you know, you can actually turn her all the way. And I do like that she comes with a stand. And just as a side note, this is actually a really nice bit of sturdy cardboard. So this isn't like the floppy crap that we've been getting with most figures lately. So that's good too. Should be a good figure to leave on card also, but she'll end up with my, well, I guess most of my vintage, quote, vintage-esque figures are being displayed coming with the Transformers crossovers. So she'll end up in that display with them most likely. I'm not sure if I'll pick up too many of the other characters. None of them really spoke to me. And I got the female figures because, to be honest, it's still kind of a novelty to have a bunch of female figures. But please, let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you any interest in the Delta-17 figures? I've known about them for a while. Like I said, I waited for the sale and then picked up a couple. But I think they'll fit in fine with your vintage G.I. Joe collection from the 80s. Or I should say the O-ring G.I. Joe collection from the 80s. And if you enjoyed this content, please feel free to subscribe and smash that like button. And I thank you for watching. Peace and love.